You are listening to the Way of the Shaman podcast with your host, Carrie Hoosman. The content shared in the Way of the Shaman podcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute professional or therapeutic advice. The views expressed by the host and interviewees reflect their personal experiences and opinions. Please consult with an appropriate licensed professional if you have any medical, psychological, or legal concerns.
Hello, and welcome to the Way of the Shaman podcast. I'm your host, Carrie Hoosman, and today Dana Robinson is joining us again, and this time we're going to be discussing the Shamanic Worldview. Welcome, Dana.
Thank you very much, Carrie, and it's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
I'm so excited for some of the stories you'll be able to share with us and really how those apply to the Shamanic Worldview that everything is alive. So, Dana, if you could you share with us what it means to embody the Shamanic Worldview every day?
Well, I'd be happy to share my experience, and let's start off with the Chukchi poem, which really contains the line, "Everything is alive." And the Chukchi are indigenous peoples in northeastern Siberia. And they're highly shamanic, okay? And they have some very interesting shamanic practices, so I encourage people to research them. But this poem really encapsulates, I think, the shamanic worldview. The way we could say, typical or quintessential shaman experiences the world, this amazing world in which we live. So the poem is called "Things a Shaman Sees." Everything that is alive. On a steep riverbank, there's a voice that speaks. I've seen the master of that voice. He bowed to me. I spoke with him. He answers all my questions. Everything that is alive. Little gray bird, little blue breast, sings in a hollow bough. She calls her spirits, dances, sings her shaman songs. Woodpecker on a tree, that's his drum. He's got a drumming nose, and the tree shakes, cries out like a drum when the axe bites its side. All these things answer my call. Everything that is alive. The lantern walks around. The walls of this house have tongues. Even this bowl, which is a peapot, even this bowl has its own true home. The hides, asleep in their bags, were up talking all night. Antlers on the graves rise and circle the mounds, while the dead themselves get up and go visit the living ones. Everything that is alive. So, this world, in the eyes of the shaman, does not consist just of biological life and then a bunch of dead objects.
Right.
Like rocks, rivers, and so on and so forth. No, they're all alive. That is, they have consciousness. They have intelligence. And I think that this workshop really explores that and really informs us that this shamanic vision of everything that is alive is in fact very valid. It's actually the truth. But everyone has to decide that for themselves, of course. And at the Foundation for Shamanic Studies, we'll present exercises. We'll give a few guidelines, but ultimately it's up to each person to determine what their experience and what these exercises mean for them, right?
Well, thank you for that, Dana, and thank you for that poem. And to follow up on that, can you think back in time to an experience that you've had where your experience that everything that is alive was really deeply and profoundly changing for you or reassuring you of that truth?
Well, yeah, I think, and this is a more important question because I think it really addresses our potentiality. And when we're children, unless, of course, we're living in a war zone, I don't know what that's like, but there maybe you're just trying to survive. But if you have a fairly safe and childhood experience, and we could say a normal sort of childhood experience, that your perceptions as a child really, I think, embody this shamanic worldview. Everything is magical. Now, I had some experiences when I was a kid, that I think informed me about the aliveness of everything. I harken back to a night in New Orleans back in 1953, and I was walking from our non-air-conditioned apartment in New Orleans, Louisiana, to another apartment where my parents were playing bridge with some friends. So I was walking at night, and I went through just this little field. Now, it was not a long walk, okay. And to this day, I remember sensing the aliveness of the grasses. Certainly the frogs, I can still hear, or was it the crickets, or both? I can still hear their sounds when I think back on that experience. And it was really a realization. Now, and this is in the consciousness of a 7-year-old,
Right.
which is a little different than the consciousness of a 3-year-old. And it was an enlightening sort of experience. Now, we tend to get that sort of worldview knocked out of us in our culture, and I think a lot of modern cultures which objectify so much. So things are objects. They're just objects. They can be exploited. They can be used by us in one way or another. But the shamanic worldview is quite different. Everything, in a sense, is at least potentially sacred. If you really think about it, I mean, 14 billion years ago, if you listen to astrophysicists, there was nothing at all, except maybe a singularity. And so the universe didn't exist. And here, in 13.5 billion years, we have a planet. Well, first of all, we have a single atom. Isn't that alone a miracle? And and now we have a planet with tigers and great sharks and whales and lemurs and beautiful primates beyond the human primate, and so on and so forth. And so I think I sort of got that back when I was 7 years old in New Orleans, Louisiana. Now, I found a poem that I wrote in 1972, so a little later on when I was in my 20s. But now, you have to remember that there were the 60s. And certainly I was right in the midst of the 60s as a young man, and they were influential. And that was a phenomenon that brought a lot of us back in touch with the natural world, also with indigenous peoples. I mean, people were dressing more or less very much like native or indigenous North American peoples. There was an adulation and an admiration of these peoples. alternative spiritualities were, particularly from the East, were gaining a lot of interest. The works of Carlos Castaneda were highly influential. This idea of a completely alive universe with spirits, with wise people who revered the planet. But anyway, so I wrote a little poem which I found, and so I think it's highly shamanic, but this is like 9 years before I ever really had any official sort of shamanic experience through a basic workshop they attended with Michael Harner back in 1981. So what's the title? I didn't title it, but I would call it a drop of water. How about that?
Okay.
So mountain high, reaching for the sky, valley low, where cool waters flow, joined in inseparable union. I wish I could melt with the snows in springtime, joining crystal cold streams, race over rocks, flow through gills, a rainbow trout, replenish thirsty bears, osmose into roots of tall pines, finally reaching rivers and always moving, spreading God's love to every corner of creation. Then warm west wind would lift me high to join tall clouds so that I could fly. Well, I won't claim that it's great poetry, but you sort of get the impression that of a love for the planet and at least a recognition that there's so much going on here that's so beautiful, and that our planet gives so much to us and all creatures.
It does. And thank you for sharing that poem. I would agree. It definitely is a shamanic poem. It's encapsulating, in some ways, a life cycle, but also just how important each drop of water is to the existence of everything on this earth.
Absolutely. Again, 14 billion years ago, there was no water. And water is the basis of biological life here, that's for sure, on this planet. And so we, I think the shamanic worldview entails don't waste anything. Mm-hmm. Every drop of water is important. I'll never forget, I hung out at a commune. It was like a hippie commune in northern Maryland back in the early 70s. It was a really nice place. And I remember doing dishes there. And I kept the water running as I would grab another dish to wash. And a guy who actually lived there, I would visit, said, you should turn it off until you got the dish ready to rinse, because you're just wasting water. And this was more than 50 years ago, and I remember it like it happened yesterday, because it just woke me up. Yeah, this is precious stuff. Yeah, and doesn't almost everything deserve our respect? So our car. We try to take good care of it. We have it serviced regularly. It's detailed once a year, and we try to keep it clean, and so on and so forth. And that is part of my shamanic worldview, for sure. You try to take care of things. Sure, we have bird baths in the back here. We throw seed out to the birds, and we have suet for them, and we have a hummingbird feeder. I actually have 6 hummingbird feeders, but that's too much work. So I'm starting with 1 this year. But that's part of it, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's so lovely to be able to connect with all these different species, even if they're migratory and just coming through. But they know that your home is a place to stop.
And I'm glad you brought up migration because, I'm going to get a book on migration because there are all these migrations on the planet, not only through the air, but also through the sea. These eels that migrate like a couple of thousand years every year, right, to where they originate in the Sargasso Sea and they come in. I forget, but so that's the reason I have to read about them.
Yeah.
There's so much going on here in this beautiful planet. And this workshop, the Shamanic Worldview, really, I think, promotes such a greater understanding of the aliveness of, a tree. We'll connect with a tree, but we really get to understand through the exercise or two that we do in this workshop just how alive it is.
Mm-hmm.
What are its needs? What kind of intelligence? And the shaman understands that not only is everything that out there alive, and oh, by the way, inside here. So, the stapler. I always like to go to my stapler. This is alive. It even told me something once. It told me in an exercise that we actually do in this workshop, when I attended this workshop, it told me it has a real need. The need is to be used. Mm-hmm. And so I know every time I use it, I figure I'm making it happy. Down my nuts. No, the shaman is actually, as Michael Harner would say, no one in the right mind calls themselves a shaman.
Absolutely.
You leave it to others to that you help to make that determination. But no, I forgot where I was going with this, so forget about it.
Well, your point is, just like a pen, that you have a long relationship if you're doing a lot of handwriting, or a keyboard if you're typing. They all have a spirit, they're all alive, and they all have something to say. They have the potential to have power. They have the potential to answer divinatory questions. They have the potential to maintain a relationship with you.
And as you relate to all these things, particularly shamanically, their power, I think, becomes a part of your power, and your power becomes a part of their power. And it's a symbiotic relationship, and it's quite wonderful. So,
if the relationship is maintained.
Yeah. Now, one of the great teachings of shamanism is, and let me turn to a quote, and then I'll say related to shamanism particularly. It comes from one of Carlos Castaneda's wonderful books, dealing largely with his relationship with the Yaqui Native American shaman, Don Juan. Don Juan once said, "This lovely being, which is alive to its last recesses and understands every feeling, soothed me. It cured me of my pains, and finally, when I had fully understood my love for it, it taught me freedom." Now, he's talking about the earth. And also, an Indian guru, Sri Bhagwan Rajneesh, now known as Osho, also, in speaking of enlightenment, said, "To see the point that you are not separate from existence is the highest insight that intelligence can give to you." And I would say that seeing that you're not separate is the highest insight that shamanism can give you. And I think this workshop certainly promotes that idea. And actually, it's beyond an idea, of course, that truth, that we're not separate. We're part of all this. All this is part of us. And so ultimately, we are not alone.
That's true.
And that is a very comforting thought. In a time of, alienation, I mean, the existentialists in the 50s were talking about alienation all over the place. Well, they weren't doing shamanism. Yeah. So.
So let's go back in time a little bit, Dana, to discuss when you first started teaching. So you had permission from Michael Harner. You essentially had the eastern half of the United States and Canada. And over time, you have taught in over 70 cities throughout the eastern half of Canada and the US, top to bottom, side to side. And when you first started traveling to teach core shamanism, how was this teaching received by the many peoples and cultures that you ended up encountering and connecting with? What was that like? And are there any stories there to share?
Well, yes, many stories. And first of all, it was a great privilege to be in that position. When Harner offered me that job, the first thing I said to him is, have you consulted your helping spirits on this? Do you have any idea of who you're asking to do this for? Yeah. So you understand who I am? And he said, I don't have to. I think you're right for this. So good. Well, there was a tremendous amount of enthusiasm. And there still is lots of enthusiasm. But of course, we talk about different cultures. Well, the culture of this country has changed in the last 40 years. Mm-hmm. And so we could say initially, and I think the average age of a participant, the average age is probably around 40. But we're getting more and more interest in shamanism from younger people these days, which is really encouraging. But some of the first people to attend trainings were more or less my age at the time, and many were highly influenced by the '60s. This interest in altered states of consciousness, of experiential spirituality. Mm-hmm. There was great interest. I met many wonderful people as I traveled south to New Orleans and Miami and north to New Brunswick, Canada, and so on and so forth. Now, I'll never forget, it was around 1988. So just a couple years into my teaching career, and I was up in Halifax, Nova Scotia, doing a beginning in-person workshop, the basic workshop, The Way of the Shaman. Mm-hmm. And there were 40 people there. So we were getting big crowds at a number of venues. And I had a sponsor, and so she did the organizing. Anyway, before we got into the material, I had everyone just say their name and also very briefly in a sentence why they had come to the training. Mm-hmm. And this guy stood up, and let me tell you what, this was a handsome, tall guy. He had long black hair that went, he had a couple of, I guess you call them braids that, going halfway down his back. He was in a black shirt, I think, maybe black pants, and a beautiful belt with a big silver buckle. And he said, my name is, I forget his name. I wouldn't say his name now, but anyway, he said, I'm the chief of the Micmacs. Now, the Micmac Nation of Native Americans in Canada, First Nations people, right? And he said, I'm just here to see what you guys are up to. I'm thinking, wow, no pressure here. No pressure here at all. So we did the first day's work, journeying to the lower world, journeying on behalf of someone, meeting animal spirit helpers, et cetera, et cetera. And at the end of the workshop, he came up to me, and I'm thinking, uh-oh. No, he said, I just want to say to you, number one, I won't be able to come tomorrow. I have a previous engagement. I can't do it. But I just wanted to assure you that I really like what you guys are doing. And wow, can I tell you, that was one of the peak moments in all the years that I've been presenting workshops. No doubt about it. Now, we've had indigenous peoples attend numerous trainings. And again, no complaints. In fact, I think we at the Foundation for Shamanic Studies are all too happy to, we could say, reintroduce shamanism to people who have lost that tradition.
Yeah,
and of course, our approach is core shamanism, so the universal, near universal, and common methods of shamans worldwide, including journeys to other worlds. And inherent is the fact of two realities, ordinary reality and non-ordinary reality, the spirit world and the physical world. But, there have been numerous instances of remarkable coincidence. We call them synchronicities over the years, and I remember those more than many things. And so we did a workshop in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. We actually had to take a boat to get to this island.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I'll never forget how sick I was from this one boat ride. I was lying on the ground when we finally got to the island. I know I turned green and I wanted to die. I was, but no, not really. But yeah, in the course of that workshop, one of the participants had a shamanic journey to the upper world or lower world. I don't remember which. And she had the experience of being given a spear. All right. A spear. It was like a gift. All right. Well, during a break, a long break, we were on this beautiful island. The water was right there. A bunch of us, put on our bathing suits, went into the water, and she felt something under her foot. It was a spear from a spear gun. And she had stepped on a spear, and so now she not only was given a spirit spear in a shamanic journey, but she was also given, in a sense, a physical spear. Now, doesn't that seem rather remarkable? Would that indicate, Michael Harner, the founder and director for many years of the Foundation for Shamanic Studies, and the guy who's made a lot of this possible for a good many of us, would say these sorts of synchronicities really inform us that the spirits are real, power is real, power is at work. Now, there's a spirit power, not the kind of the power that's wielded in the capital cities of numerous countries. I would refer to that as force. But this is spirit power. We could say an amalgam of energy plus intelligence plus ethics plus love. And our helping spirits embody those qualities. They're alive. They have energy. They have intelligence. They're highly ethical beings, and they actually care for us. And yeah, so there are other stories as well. Yeah, would you like to hear one more story?
Please.
Yes. We did a workshop in Austin, Texas, and in those days we were doing a group journey in the beginning workshop, in person, the basic workshop, the Way of the Shaman. And we do a group journey to recover power in the form of an animal helper spirit, a power animal, for someone in our group. So this person is the designated patient, so to speak, a recipient of the power. We journey together in a specific form in the spirit boat. And what was recovered by the person acting as the shaman, we could say the lead person in this journey, was an alligator. Now, we say in power animal retrievals, we don't blow into someone, or a fish or reptile, if its teeth are showing. Well, the person acting as a shaman saw this alligator, or an alligator, 4 separate times, but upon the 4th viewing, the teeth were still showing. Because when alligators have their mouths closed, their teeth are still showing. Mm-hmm. So the person acting as a shaman informed the alligator spirit, I can't bring you back, your teeth are showing. So the alligator said, give me a second, right? Over his teeth, right? So that alligator was brought back to the client. Now, after it was revealed to the client and everyone else what had returned, this recipient said, well, you know, I have a spirit altar at home, and on it I have 2 little stuffed alligators. And I said to the group, does anyone else have a spirit altar with alligators on it? And of course the answer was no. Mm-hmm. So that's another specific kind of remarkable coincidence that really assures us that, hey, something's going on here besides mere chance. This is a reminder to us all that this world of spirit is entirely real. It's as real as this world here, or in the eyes of perhaps a Shuar in the Amazon. The world of spirit is even more real than this physical world.
Going in a slightly different direction about this workshop. So one of the important things about this workshop is that you learn how to connect with the spirits of objects that have been created. So it could be the spirit of a fork, the spirit of a chair, the spirit of your home. And people often don't think of those as alive, and they don't think of them as having a spirit, especially if they've been manufactured by a machine.
Right.
So can you give me a sense of what's the importance of building these skills from these exercises for someone who is, trying to build their shamanic skill set, wanting to be able to help others and help the planet? Why is it so important to learn to connect with and learn from these objects?
Yeah. Well, if it weren't important, we wouldn't be doing it. And so, no, we don't waste people's time in our trainings. We'd like to think that every single exercise that we ask people to do in our workshops, which are experiential, they don't, these are not lecture trainings, although we may, do some talking, introducing some of these methods. But we try to give people important experiences that ultimately promote this idea and actually this fact that the world is completely alive. Everything that is alive. Now, in connecting with created objects, let's see, we're merging in our workshop with a created object. Mm-hmm. And so we learn something about merging, which is something that shamans have done forever. Why? Well, there's a saying, you can't know someone until you walked in their shoes for a mile.
Right.
Right? So how can let's go back to my wonderful stapler. Mm-hmm. To really understand the stapler at a deep level, why not become one with this and experience its existence as it, experience its experience of existence. Well, okay, so I become familiar with it. And in the meantime, if I do some other things, like perhaps ask it a question of my own that I want some help with, and if I receive an answer that seems helpful, wow, I've acquired a friend. So I think as we connect with even created objects, we're expanding this shamanic worldview and further reinforcing the fact that we're not alone, and there's so much help everywhere. We're in a sea of assistance. Mm-hmm. As Michael Harner once said, when you do shamanism, you come to understand that all in all, the earth is a pretty friendly place. Well, in a way, that's a gross understatement, but it is a beautiful thing to think about, because we may not get that sort of information from the mainstream media. All in all, it's a friendly place. Well, there's something to be afraid of left and right, Now, when we merge with anything, and when we open ourselves up to communication, including from created objects, this does require concentration. And the shamanic journey requires concentration. So this is really good practice. Absolutely. In fact, it's this idea of concentration, of actually energy that you experience, that goes into this thought that if you were to work shamanically for someone else, say you go to your own helping spirits with a question, or you do some sort of other shamanic work on behalf of others, mm-hmm. Yes, it's going to take concentration, and that concentration is a sacrifice that you're making on behalf of someone else. And we like to say that the spirits particularly honor us and are very happy that we are making a sacrifice for someone else. And I've noticed that sometimes working shamanically for someone else, that good things just come into my life. Maybe a new friend, or a new insight, or what have you. So, by the way, there's always an exchange of some sort, and as we understand the aliveness of man-created objects, when we look inside a person's body, looking for spirits that could be sources of pain or illness, surely if this is alive, and we've experienced his aliveness, we can know without a doubt that what we're viewing inside a person's body, whether we perceive them as a nest of ants or a bunch of rusty nails or what have you, that what we're perceiving is also alive. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If this can be alive, what we see in a person's body, when we're looking for disease-causing spirits, that is certainly alive. So,
so extending that a bit more, Dana, after this workshop, when someone has completed this workshop, what advice would you give for a student to continue to build relationships with the spirits of the objects that in their surroundings? What would you tell them to do?
Well, I would advise them to continue to do the exercises that we do in the workshop and connect with the other aspects of nature, either through the journey, certainly, but also to directly communicate with the spirits of the plants, of the insects, of the birds, whatever, outside, directly, one-on-one. I would suggest a simple little exercise that they do, that they go out into the world and take some tobacco, an offering, right? And when they see something that is particularly beautiful or impressive, they simply toss the tobacco toward it and honor it, right? And remember that not only is the waterfall an amazing physical phenomenon containing water, which is the basis of all biological life here, pretty much, and it's so beautiful and powerful. But remembering then also there's a spiritual component to the waterfall as well. So I would suggest that they remember not only that there is so much intelligence out there, and so when they walk through the woods or walk up a trail on a mountainside, that they simply focus on the aliveness, not only physical aliveness, but spiritual aliveness of everything. And that they embody the shamanic worldview and even expand their shamanic worldview. Now, Carlos Castaneda, in one of his books, said, "We won't ever understand it. We won't ever unravel its secrets. We must treat the world as it is, a sheer mystery. But we can experience this world. We may not understand it fully ever, and do we really want to? I prefer that the world remain a mystery because it is, at least to me. I'd rather have a sense of wonder than I'll go around in my life thinking I know it all. First of all, how obnoxious can you be? But we can experience the world through our shamanic experience, and also just directly to have an appreciation of this earth that gives us our lives, that feeds us. There's a poem from the same book that we find, the Chukchi poem, which I recited earlier. It comes from it's a poem that comes from Spirit Shaman Songs, which is available through Internet archives at no cost, by the way.
Okay.
Song about the spirit of the sea. Oh, you men and women, now listen to me. Look to the sea, to the spirit woman who lives beneath the waves. The spirit woman deep beneath the waves. She takes her dish. She fills it up. She takes her dish, shoves it out. All kinds of food for us. Oh, you men, now listen to me. She makes us glad. She feeds us. She makes us glad. She feeds us. And every living thing near here, she feeds. So, I mean, how wonderful. What a beautiful way to experience the world. And ultimately, what can we get from this workshop? And I think all shamanic work is this deep appreciation and also of our earth, and also a deep humility.
Gratitude. Yeah.
Yeah, a humility, hopefully, that we can embody. Doing shamanism is a return in some ways to the perceptions of our childhood that entail wonder at this amazing world. But it's also a return to the visions and experiences of our ancestors who were maybe a little more in touch with the wonders of this world, the power of this world as well.
Well, with that said, Dana, I just want to thank you so much for the poetry, for the stories, for helping us return to those youthful skills that we had with connecting with nature and spirituality, and for helping us remember that this workshop helps us build connections with everything, with and really connecting with that awe, that wonder, that respect and gratitude. And the more we connect with that, the more we can build shamanic power.
Yeah, absolutely. And I might add, we really pack it in this workshop. We really
Yes, we
do
do.
a number of things. And wow, it is really, even if I do say so myself, one of my favorite workshops and one of the most powerful workshops that the foundation presents. So I hope that people will take advantage of the opportunity to spend a little time, 3.5 to 4 hours a day for 2 days, to do this training.
Yes.
So.
Well, with that said, for our listeners, if you'd like to learn more about this workshop or any other workshop from the Foundation, like to learn more about Dana as an instructor and when you can take classes from him, please check us out at shamanism.org. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carrie. It was an honor to be with you, and thank you for your wonderful questions.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right. We'll see you. Bye.